Ji, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yesterday, we left at the structural modeling of a proposed building, and we used method 1, that was using of the CAD files as DSX, and we imported that into ETAB. In today's session, this is session number 3. Is the video quality is okay now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in today's session, we divide this session into 3 parts, that is part 1, 2, 3. In part 1, we will continue our modeling of the proposed 14-story building. In part 2, will be start defining of material properties for concrete and steel. And part 3 will be defining section properties for columns, beams, and structural walls as per ACI 31814. If we get time, we will define slab as well, but slab is a bit tricky. That why I haven't included in today's session. Inshallah, we will be defining it tomorrow. So let us start our session 3. So in method 2, you can model your proposed structure using method 2, that is using quick draw templates of ETABS. There are some steps that I have explained. Let me. So first of all, you have to insert data of the building in different tabs like number of the stories, number of the grid lines, and story height, etc. And then you have to select the slab system that I have shown it to you yesterday. Like what will be the size of the beam, and what are the, for example, the beam slab system, there is flat slab system. You have to select the slab system. And then you have to define the section properties for column, beam, and slab. You can keep it as default, but you can enter your own properties as well. And then you have to enter the loads if you are willing to insert it here initially. And then later on, you can edit the grid spacing, and then you click on OK. The proposed 3D model will appear. And then obviously you have to save your file and start working on it if there is any work left, if you want to draw left walls and shear walls. So let us go towards the ETAB and apply this method too. So when you open your ETAB, this template will open. So we'll keep this as default, click on OK. So this window again, another window will appear. So you have to enter the number of the grid lines in X direction, Y direction, and the number of the story. So we know that we have 14-story building, and each story is 11 feet high. And now we have to go back to the architectural drawings and count our number of grids in X direction, Y direction. And then we will give a normal spacing, that is 20 or 25. Then we can edit it later on. So this is our architectural drawings, in which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 on the X direction, and that is 10 on the Y direction. So insert these number of grids, 10 on X and 10 on Y. And then keep these as default because we are going to edit our grid spacing. हाँ, आप क्या कह रहे हैं, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही आपका नेट का इशू है, भाई माइक का इशू क्या है?
تاسو د आवाज سره کټ کېدو دا 10 تر څنګه راغی سر پاتو کېټ کې دا کېټ کې فایل کې دا 10 دوباره راځي.
अच्छा जी, let me explain it again, that what ETAB is asking from you is, it is asking from the number of the grids. For example, this is grid number 1, this is grid number 2, this is grid number 3. So you have counted all. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are the 10 grid lines in X direction. So this is the X direction, but you have to draw draw your dimension, your grid lines perpendicular to that direction. For the Y direction, you have to count these, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are the 10 grid lines in the Y direction, right? So you have to insert these in here. Number of the grids in X direction and number of the grid lines in Y direction. If you have very symmetrical spacing, you can enter it, but leave it by default, because we are going to edit this grid spacing. Then come towards the slab system. You have to select your slab system of your desired building. So we are going to design our two-way slab system. How do I know it's two-way slab? Like I have explained it in first lecture, that you have to find out the ratio of the two dimensions. For example, we have the maximum dimension over this direction is 15, and on the other direction we have the maximum dimension of 20. So 20 divided by 15, it comes out to be 1.3. So it is less than 2, right? So if this ratio is less than 2, it is two-way slab. If it is greater than 2 or equal to 2, it is one-way slab. So we are going to design our system as our slab as a two-way slab. So we will select this two-way slab or ripped slab. Ripped slab means one-way joist system, and wafer slab means two-way joist system. And this is the flat slab with perimeter beams, and this is a flat slab, and these are the steel structures. So click on the two-way slab and uncheck this ribs, because we are not designing any two-way or one-way joist system. So these are some information you have to give to the software. That is the structural system properties column. You can select your column of your desired property. You can click on these dotted lines and you can directly define your section. Let me define it quickly. We will define our section properly. And let's name it is 24 inches cross 24. This is the depth. This is the width. Click on OK. Define property for beam. So later on you can select it from drop down menu. For example, this is 15 cross 24, and keep all of these by default. So we are not going into detail of this. Right, to select your column from the list. And your beam. This is asking about the beam in X direction, beam in Y direction. If you are willing to use on different sizes in X direction, Y direction, you can select it. Slab, we will define the slab property. For example, you can modify slab 1. It is by default 8 inches. You will take it 6 inches. Click on OK. So this is the structural system property. It is asking about the overhangings, the origin of your system. So keep this as by default and come towards the loads. If it's asking about the load pattern, that is dead, or it is asking about dead load addition, that is SDL. If you are willing to add your loads in here, you can add. This is the live load. You can add it. You can select your floor diaphragm rigidity, rigid frame. This is rigid diaphragm, semi-rigid. If you are considering shear deformations in your system, you will select semi-rigid. Otherwise, for the normal concrete slab, you will select rigid diaphragm. What is the role of diaphragm? You will explain it in the definition of the slab. What will happen if you do not assign diaphragm to a slab, and you can select your restraint at the bottom, that is pin, right? So click on OK. So now the beam property, the slab properties to a slab, that is beam, column, and slab properties has been defined. Now click on this custom grid spacing and edit grid data. Here you can edit your grid spacing that you have defined. You can display, you can define the grid spacing in two ways. That is the display grid data as ordinates, that is 0, 24, 48. It will keep on going as ordinates, or you can give spacing as a spacing between the two grids. If you click on this display grid data, it will ask you about the spacing between two grids. So this is the X grid data and this is the Y. Let us go towards the architecture. This is the X and this is the Y. So you have to insert the data from right to left for the X axis, for the X grids, and from bottom to top for the Y, right? This is how ETAB model your grids. So the grid A and B spacing is 14, and then 12, 15, 15, then 12, 15, 15, 12, 14. So you can give your ordinates. What does it mean by ordinates? For example, this is the spacing. This is for the second option. If you are using ordinates, you have to give the first 14, and then after 14, you have to give 26, right? After 26, you have to give the third.
Irfan, please, the sound की लगा मसला दा लगा टिक्का.
साउंड की मसला, आवाज स्लो है का शोर दे बाकी.
टाइम पर टाइम मानी लग दो ब्रेक की नोट सही.
वेट ज हैंड्स फ्री रखलम, हैंड्स फ्री वन चेक को. जियो सवास्टिक शो.
जी सफारा जी दा मा नेट मसला
अच्छी आवाज ठीक है.
like breaking टाइम कंटिन्यू वो सही है.
अच्छा. So if you are using ordinates, then you have to give the ordinates like this. For the first, you have to give 14, and then for this third grid line, you have to give 27, 26, and for the fourth, you have to give 14, and on and so on. But for the grid spacing, you have to give the grid spacing between the two grids. That is, for our first grid, the spacing is 14, and then 12, 15, 15. So we will give this grid spacing 14, 12, and then 15, 15. So using this, so we have 14, 12, and then 15, 15. After this, we have again 12, and then 2 times 15. And then again 12 and 14. This is done on the for the X direction. For the Y direction, you have to start from the bottom to the top. This is how the ETAB draw your grid lines. This is 19, 12, and 20. Twelve, 20, 20, 3 times 20. And then we have 12, and the other dimension is, this is not 20, this is 19. So we have 12 and 19. So the grid has been modified according to our proposed architecture drawings. So click on OK. So this is the bubble size. This is the in architecture drawing, you can see these bubbles. So ETAB is asking about the size of these bubbles. You can increase and decrease this size of this bubble. So keep it as default 60. Click on OK. So now everything has been defined. Click on OK. It will take some time because it's a high-rise building. So now your 3D model with defined cross-section of beams, columns, and slab has been drawn with one click, right? So you can draw your shear walls or lift walls in it very easily. Right? So you can insert the openings for the stairs as well. This is just for the demonstration purpose. I'm doing it very quickly. After this, we will go towards the method 3, in which we will actually properly modeling our proposed building. So you can go towards the draw this slab, and you can select the property as an opening. And let me close this. If these are the stairs in here, so you can draw your opening like this, right? So this is not according to the dimension that we have in our architecture drawings, but for the purpose of demonstration for the method 2. If there is an opening in if you are working, on your own project, and there is an open to sky written it means there is an opening, so you can draw that opening as well, like this, right? So this is how you utilize method 2 for the quick modeling of your structure. Now let us go towards the method 3, in which we will be using only grid lines in ETABS to model our proposed building. This is same as we done it in here, but there is some differences. I want to use some of the tools that has not been used in the quick draw templates. That is the assignments and the draw different tools. So we will be using these tools in this method 3. In this method 3, first of all, you have to insert data of the building in different tabs, like we have done it just a few minutes ago. And then you have to select the grids, just like we select the 2 slabs. And in grid lines of the proposed structure will appear when you click on OK. So later on, when you are working in your model, you can edit your grid lines, the number of the stories, height of the stories, everything you can edit it, right? So let us go towards the method 3. So let us go towards the, there is no need to save this model. Click on OK. So now by default, the grid line is always selected. So you have to click on again to select the grid only. And again, you have to enter the number of the grids in X and Y, like we have calculated previously, that we have 10 grid lines in X direction and 10 grid lines in Y direction. So you have to insert that data and insert the number of the stories, and then insert the height of the story. So there is nothing else you have to select or edit. You can edit your grid spacing initially at here, right? But we have already used this method. Let us go edit and these inside the model. So after entering these data, click on OK, right? So the grid lines will appear for the 14-story building, and these are the default spacing 24-24. So now how to edit these inside the model? You right click and you add or modify grids. Click on this, And there are on the top, there's a story data where you can check your data for the stories, the number of the stories and height of the stories. If you want to give specific naming to the stories, you can also do that, which we will be doing, right? So for the building naming, we have basement. This is basement floor. This is actually raft, right? And this is ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. That I have explained it in the first yesterday, that the slab of the basement floor is the ground floor, right? So we will be naming it as it is given in the architectural drawings. We will start from the basement, then ground floor, first floor, and so on up to the top floor. So for the naming of the story, let us click on the modify, show story data. So this window will appear in which we have different options to modify. For example, height of the story, and it is a master story or not. This is actually the tool that has been added. For example, this is the one story on the right side corner. If you are working in one story, if you're working in all stories, if you are working in similar stories, we will use this command in our design, right? So let us go towards the naming. So name it basement, and then ground floor, first. Let us come start from this is the top. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Let's turn off your mic, please. 6, 5, 4. This is third, and this is second. We have given the name to the stories according to the architectural drawings, so it will become very easy for us to work in our model. So click on OK. So the naming has been modified. You can see it here, right? Now we have to edit our grid lines. So you can add new grid system by clicking it here. So if your structure is Cartesian coordinates, so it is symmetrical. So you can give it your angle. If it is circular, spiral, semi-spiral, so you can select this one and you can add your desired dimensions. So we are not going towards this. You can modify your existing grid system. You can delete grid system. You can copy grid system. You can also add grid lines or grid system from the XF file or DWG file as well, right? You can also add new XF file if you are willing to. So we are interested in here is a modification of these grid lines. So you will select this and click on modify system. So this window will appear in which on the top left corner, we have this grid system naming. You can choose your grid system origin. You can rotate your grid system grid line. Let's suppose, for example, your system is, your building is rotated at 45 degrees. So you can insert 45 degree. Let us check what will happen. Click on OK. So now you can see, is the grid lines are visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this grid line has been rotated at 45 degree that I have given in the edit menu of the grid system, right? So you can rotate it any degree. For example, if you want to rotate it at 23 degree, is this the meeting is alive?
Sir, message رافع we can use time limit. So
meeting start کړئ سر ته وایي meeting start دی.